Hey there, curious cannabis consumers. I'm Scotty Valentine, and welcome to Get High Voltage. Alright, today I'd like to show you guys how to turn an arc lighter like this into a full-on stun gun. So, arc lighters like this you can get at a lot of stores, and they work great for stuff, like lighting joints, or lighting papers on fire, stuff like that. But they are not much in the line of self-defense. As you'll see here, annoying, but not gonna stop an attacker or anything. So, but I can smell some hair burning. So, let's see, where am I? Yeah, so this is an arc lighter that I made from some cheap parts online. It has a high voltage transformer and a Slayer exciter circuit. Just a couple of bucks online, but you can do this with any store-bought arc lighter. Should work just the same. So the first thing that I'll be adding onto the arc lighter is a Villard half-wave voltage multiplier. So this is a configuration of diodes, which are like one-way valves for electricity, and capacitors, which can store small amounts of energy and release it very quickly. So on the first wave of this cycle, the capacitors will each get charged up to 15,000 volts individually. And then on the next part of the cycle, they're all put in series so that each one of those capacitors adds up the voltage. So if we have 3 there, it'll end up at 45,000 volts. So the next part of the circuit is going to be a resistor capacitor circuit, where we're using a series resistor to control the speed at which we're charging up a capacitor bank. And when that capacitor bank gets up to a high enough charge, it'll break down the air between the electrodes and fire. Once that fires and the energy gets drained, the voltage will lower and it'll stop the arc, quenching it. And then the whole cycle starts over again. They charge up, put in series to get the extra high voltage, charges the capacitor, fires. And that's the basic operation of a stun gun. So here's a real basic diagram of the circuit that I'm going to be building here. So here you can see the arc lighter with its 2 electrodes coming out. So here, here, and here we have 1 nanofarad capacitors rated for 20 kilovolts. And then these diodes are, they're very high voltage diodes as well. Over here I've got a bank of 7 1 nanofarad capacitors, and this resistor here Okay, so now I've got it set into my plexiglass here, and I'm going to start soldering the circuit together. So here's the bank of 7 1 nanofarad capacitors. They're rated for 20 kilovolts, and I've got them potted in some clear epoxy, but I need to add a little bit of shrink wrap here, so that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, got this thing now. Oh yeah, here. Okay, so now a big thing here. Okay, well I know this is taking a little longer than I expected. It's probably been a little bit boring to watch. Sometimes it's been a little bit boring to wire, but I've got most of the wiring done now, and all that's left is to set up the electrodes. So let's get to that part. Okay, so I've got all the wiring and everything done on it, although I haven't tried it yet. So I'm going to give it a shot now. I've got the electrodes here spaced at about a half an inch. So it should go ahead and fire much lower than our maximum voltage, but I want to try it and start low, I guess. So let's see if it does anything. Right? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So, that is how you turn an arc lighter into a stun gun. Well, I guess the only thing left is to try it out on myself, right? Okay, here we go. Y'all must really think I'm crazy, huh? If I wanted to get tased, I'd go drive around with the tail light out or something. But I'm not going to try this thing out on myself because it puts out about 3 joules each time it fires, as opposed to most tasers or stun guns put out about a third or a half of a joule. So this thing's super powerful, and I'm not going to try it out on myself. But I do want to try playing with it in the dark a little bit too. So imagine, one evening, you're taking a stroll alone in the park. The sun is getting low, you're all by yourself. Suddenly, you're accosted by a petitioner. You try to avoid eye contact. You dodge left, you dodge right, but they are just not gonna let you go without that signature. Well, that's when you pull this baby out, and brap, they ain't getting away with your John Hancock, not today. Okay, so I successfully made a pretty powerful stun gun out of an arc lighter. I wanted to add here, though, that this thing is dangerous. I am a trained electrician. I'm aware of necessary precautions as well as the risks that are associated with these kind of builds. And building these things is just kind of my thing. But it's really not necessary to do so. I mean, especially if you're in America. I mean, I live in California, and you can buy one of these things, in a liquor store. And even if you're in, another country like Canada or something, where there's a little tighter weapon laws, you don't need to build this whole circuit. You can order online for a couple of bucks a module that's pretty much a stun gun module, a high voltage pulse power supply. So, yeah. I'm just trying to say, I guess, don't try this at home. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed getting high voltage with me.